Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Today we're going to talk about the Knights of Columbus.
That's right, the Knights of Columbus. This is a Catholic organisation in the United States of America that I happened to see the other evening from the 6th to the 8th of August this year, the 137th annual meeting of the Knights of Columbus. It took place in Minneapolis, which I think is in Minnesota, the USA. And they have 2 million members. The 137th anniversary of their establishment.
Mm.
And they were founded, and which they referred to by an Irish Catholic priest, Father Michael Joseph
Givney.
McGivney.
Yeah. Is it McGivney, was it?
I think, or McGivney.
Okay.
I'm not sure which, but he was born in the US, but his parents were from Ireland, and so he was really first generation American, but really Irish. And he was transferred. He'd become a priest, and he was in some part of I think Texas or somewhere in the country, where he established with the Catholics in that area a mutual help society to help those in need by forming themselves into an association, subscribing into it, and when people were in need, they helped them out financially and every other way. And that was the forerunner to the establishment of the Knights of Columbus, and they referred to him as their founder, and referred to him at the 137th annual meeting quite a bit. And now, the important thing about them is that they provide their largest Catholic organisation of their type in the world. They supply 140 million charity aid to people and countries that need it.
So it's Catholics and people of no faith?
Correct, they supply,
wow.
They're not just limited to that, but they give aid to people in countries of no faith.
Impressive.
And not necessarily the Catholic faith. For example, in Iraq and Syria, they have built houses for people that have been displaced by
the wars.
By the war in that country, and continuing with extremists making it very difficult. And they built houses and repaired churches that were desecrated by extremists.
Okay.
In that country, both Syria and Iraq particularly. And even still, while one set of extremists have been replaced by another, there was ISIS, now there's another crowd, and Catholics are still, Christians suffering intimidation and a form of persecution by those extremists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so there, the Knights of Columbus is helping there, and have visited that and have seen for themselves what's required, and have publicised it themselves, and it's been publicised in the media in that country, not by the secular media, because they don't seem to recognise anything where there's need. They don't provide the help for those countries. But in the US, under the presidency of President Donald Trump and his vice president of the administration, they are providing help to these countries financially, to their credit.
Yeah.
So that's the Knights of Columbus, and the fact that they have been so helpful in helping those that can't help themselves has been a great credit. And during the course of that meeting, there was support for them from world leaders, which the president of the Knights of Columbus said not to clap until they were finished. So the first congratulations to the Knights of Columbus for their charitable work and their support for the pro-life cause, etc. And congratulations from President Donald John Trump of that country to the Knights of Columbus for their strong patriotic duty. He called them patriots of that country for what they've done for the poorer type of people in the US and abroad. That was one. The next one was from Premier Trudeau in Canada, because they're helping the native population in that country. President Trudeau, who is not known as being practicing, he's a Catholic, but they've some of the worst divisive laws in that country in the known world. But he congratulated the Knights of Columbus for what their charitable work and all the rest of it. Likewise, the President of Poland, because they have helped people in Poland who suffered under communism and before that the German occupation, which destroyed that country. And not least the communists who murdered 15 million of their best and brightest. Some wood. And so they suffered. So the Knights of Columbus have helped them, and they were thanked by the President of that country. And a good long congratulations, which was read out. And then by the President of the Philippines.
Okay, so there's a lot of congratulations. Has the RTE covered any of this?
Not at all. The only thing that they covered was some complaint that a Democrat presidential candidate enjoying 2% of support among the Democrats quoted him. So you wouldn't expect from him, because they are violently anti-President Trump to their own detriment, because he's done a lot of good and got a lot of support in that country, but he doesn't enjoy the support from the secular media, no matter what he does. Even though he's doing a lot of good and providing employment in that country for people of all persuasions, the African Americans and the various other ones, their livelihood is increased because they've got employment. So he's done a lot of good, and not alone there, but in other places. So, but and of course he's very pro-life and pro from conception to natural death. So they are trying to do something about this abortion regime in that country, because while there was a lot of support for it some years ago, now it's coming the other way, that there's more pro-life support by the majority of the US citizens than there is for abortion. And a lot of states have done away with that. But people to supply that service, or to supply that, they call it health something or another, which has nothing to do with it. So he's done a lot of good. And so therefore, and as they congratulated the Knights of Columbus, can you imagine the Knights of Columbanus, which we have in this country, a meeting whom I attended 2 years ago, when they had one in Maynooth. I don't believe they've ever got congratulations from the state broadcaster for the charitable work they're doing, and they're doing quite a bit as well. Yeah. But nobody hears of them. So this is the thing about the Knights of Columbus, and that the charitable work that they're doing, but at least they're getting publicity in that country, and congratulations from the people in power. Do you think that the same thing would happen here to the Knights of Columbanus that we have, named after the famous missionary Saint Columcille? Do you think that we'd have the RTE supporting them, and congratulations for the charitable work that they're doing by the president of this country, Mr. Higgins, in the presidential place? I think he doesn't practice his Catholic faith. He'd be a secularist and maybe pro-communist. He's pro-Cuba, which is a communist country.
Okay. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much, Oliver.